Hello and welcome to the first video. I'm going to be doing a series where I'm going to be talking about Total Warhammer 3 and Total War games in general, and the principles of how you can understand the game and then how you can hopefully win battles. This isn't aiming to be an in-depth mechanical guide. This is going to be aiming to take people who are new to the game through the basic steps and get them started. More detail is provided in my introductory video, but for now, without further ado, let's get on to the first part of this. Understanding what you're looking at. Battles in Total Warhammer are always fought by armies of between 1 and 20 units. What is a unit? Every single one of these blocks here is an individual unit. Each of them consists of one type of dude, basically. Each of them will have a same weapon. It will have the same purpose and will fight together. And when I issue commands, as per, for example, this, so I can select this unit, and I can order that unit to move. And all of the models in that unit will move together. Now, how do I know which units are mine? As you can see, every single one of these units has a banner. That banner has a number of colours on it. You'll also notice that at the top of the screen, in the middle, there is a icon. That icon is my faction icon, and its coloration is reflected on each of the banners that you can see here, noting this lovely red, white and gold color scheme. Next up is, what are these units? Who are they? How do I know what weapons they have? Well, I mean, the simplest way is I can go over here and go, okay, look at them. Right, these guys have got a sword and a shield. They are swordsmen. Hover over them, look at the tooltip, swordsman, sword infantry. Perfect, great idea, I know exactly what I'm looking at. However, if I was in the middle of a battle, my screen would look something like this, as I zoom out and try and get a view of the whole thing at once. Which means, zooming into every unit individually to work out what's going on with them is not an amazingly viable way of working out what the unit's done. So, we need a shorthand, and in that case, the unit banners come back into it. You'll notice that each banner that we can currently see has a symbol on it. So, those swordsmen I mentioned earlier, they just have a sword on them. That indicates to me, at a glance, that is a unit that A belongs to me, and B is a swordsman. And if I look across this army, I can see quite a lot of variety. Each one of these symbols tells me what sort of unit I'm looking at. Do I see a symbol and a horse? Well then, that's a cavalry unit. Again, you can tell some of this at a distance, but if you want a quick reference, just check the banner, and that will tell you what unit you're looking at. In addition, as you can see along the bottom of the screen, there are a number of cards. Each card represents every single unit in your army. If you're ever unsure of where one of these units is, all you have to do is double left click on one of them. It'll take you straight to that unit and select them, so you can immediately issue them an order with a right click. So, quick recap. A unit is a collection of models all equipped with the same weapon that all does the same things. Each unit can be ordered individually, or if you want to, you can command several units at once and give them the same order. Color tells you who they belong to, and the symbol tells you what weapon they're equipped with. You can also hover over them, and that will also just tell you what that unit is. And a few other details, but we'll get onto those in later videos. Now, above each unit's banner, there is also a health bar. But there are two health bars you will see here. One is in green, and one is in grey. The green health bar is their HP. As like in every other video game that's ever been released, HP is simply a measure of how alive you are. Once it hits 0, the unit is dead. Below that, there is a grey bar. That represents their morale, which is how brave they're currently feeling. If that hits 0, the unit will start running away. If it hits really, really 0, because morale can go below 0, they will break and run away permanently. Don't worry about too much about how this all works for now. Just remember, green, health. Grey, morale. Which means at a glance, looking across your battle line, you can look at each banner and see how healthy it's doing, how brave they're currently feeling, and you can see that across the whole field. That's also reflected, again, along the bottom of the screen here. So your quick reference for the whole army is always going to be visible to you. You can also do it just by looking at the battlefield, so you can better control what's going on. Now, you'll notice that some of these units have a third bar below those HP bars. These are your ranged units. They have a gold-orange bar. That bar is their ammunition. That tells you how many shots they've got left to fire, because every single ranged unit has a limited ammo pool. They can't fire forever, they can only fire as much as they're carrying. So bear in mind, ranged units, 3 bars, regular units, 2 bars, which again is another quick way of telling, when I'm looking at a unit, what sort of unit am I looking at. Now, I will mention that some of these changes are a little bit subtle and not easy to note at a distance. For example, here we have a cavalry unit, armed with a pistol, and a monstrous cavalry unit, armed with a lance. They fill very different roles, but if you look at the icons, at a quick glance, especially at a distance, they're not super easy to identify. In cases like that, it's sometimes useful to look at the unit card, where again, you can see that same icon at the bottom of the screen, which will give you a quick reference for what that unit is. You'll also notice they've all got unique art, which will hopefully make it easier for you to tell units apart as you get used to it. Again, as you play the game, you'll become more and more familiar with this, and it'll become second nature to you. But we'll cover more advanced stuff later on. But this is our beginner's guide to how to read unit cards, how to issue very basic commands to them, and how to quickly identify which units are yours and what they do. Thank you for this, and more we can covered in further parts.